Yo, what's going on, guys? Let me go over today's market recap and the trades I ended up taking today. I ended up taking two trades today, and the first trade was break even, and then the second one was a trailed TP. So, not necessarily full TP, but trailed stop loss. Probably should have been TP though, so it's definitely something to journal. I'm going to go over today's price action. Today's price action was, it was clean. It was some good PA today. I'm not going to lie. So yeah, let's go over that. So coming into today, if we just look prior to all what happened, low key coming in today, I was leaning more bearish, but I could definitely see both sides of things. First of all, if we just look, okay, this is today, so don't mind this candle. Just on the daily as well, we were pretty overextended. We do have some good draws lower, that being this swing low here, which is a weekly low. So we have this weekly low, and we had these lows here. Cool. Or no, we didn't. We didn't have these lows here. We didn't have any session lows. We just had this swing low here. And then on the hourly chart, we had some swing lows as well lower. So we had these protected lows, to be fair. So the draws on liquidity today weren't really the best. I'm not going to lie. Especially for the bearish side of things. For the bullish side of things, draws were super nice. We had London session highs, we had Asian session highs, we had London session highs from Monday, and of course we had the New York PM session highs up here, which is also an entry to the daily fair value gap, which we had above right here. So I could definitely see both sides of the story. And the way I decided to go about today was pretty simple. Coming into this morning, we had this hourly gap above us here, which we tapped into already. Right here. We tapped into it at 3 a.m. So the overnight session, this was a London session. So London session tapped into this hourly gap and then looked like it was making moves lower. However, before coming in, so at 9 a.m. here, it looked like we wanted to remanipulate. That's what I was thinking. So if anything, we just didn't have anything to really reject off here. We did have these 15-minute gaps, but just how we were moving pre-market specifically and how we tapped off this and didn't make any rejection really lower, except for this one candle showed a rejection but we weren't making moves lower after that with the other candles following. With that in mind, I was more leaning towards us re-sweeping London session highs, tapping this hourly gap again, and then deciding on what we're going to do from there. Simple enough. I was sort of thinking if we're going to rip through this hourly gap, which is kind of what we did, and we kind of like ripped through it pretty heavily. I'd be expecting more bullish price action with maybe a continuation, something along the lines of this. If we were to rip through this, maybe go through Asia and then start getting a continuation model to present itself up to this draw on liquidity that we have higher, which is this unmitigated daily fair value gap here with a bunch of session liquidity backing us going to there. That was definitely all down for that. And then the second idea was if we reject off this hourly gap, I would be looking for an inversion to take down here because we had some decent structure here. We had these 5-minute swing lows and we also had 9:30 and this failure swing at 9:30, which just didn't really do anything. It was pretty insignificant, but it was a 9:30 low, so it's definitely a good target to go for. So yeah, market ended up opening. We came up into this hourly gap, and I was originally looking to take this 5-minute inversion that we had. Why would I want to take this? Pretty simple. We had a 9:30 PO3 into this hourly gap, sweeping out this London session liquidity. So we swept out a significant level of liquidity, which was London session and this hourly gap. Came into the hourly gap with a 9:30 PO3, and pretty simple stuff. What do we do before 9:30? We accumulate. What does 9:30 do? Makes the failure swing lower, generates some more liquidity, and then we make a move higher, and then we inverse this 5-minute gap with the highest time frame leg, highest time frame for value gap within this leg of price, and then we start to make a move lower towards these DOLs that we have marked out lower down, right? So cool. With that in mind, I was looking to take this 5-minute, but I got edged pretty badly. And that's why I don't like 5 minutes. 5 minutes are super annoying. If you did end up taking this 3-minute inversion, which is also, I think, is pretty valid. Like this 3-minute right here is really nice. But the thing about this 3-minute is again, it's just inside of a 5 minutes. So it's meh. You could have targeted this 9:30 low for 94 points. Or if you wanted to, you could have targeted the entire range for 180. But again, it's just when we were inside of this 5-minute gap, we were kind of showing some hesitation. Obviously, it doesn't look like that, but if we go to like the 1-minute chart here, you can see as we were getting close to inversing that 5-minute gap, we were just showing slight signs of hesitation. So it wasn't like a clean breakthrough until it was, right? Until the end in this candle, which was the candle that actually inversed the gap, which just completely delivered to TP. So from there on, I was looking to take continuations. Now I ended up taking this continuation model here at 10 a.m. So what we had was, boom. So we came into 10 a.m. and what did 10 a.m. do? 10 a.m. left like this swing low here, and then we started to manipulate at 10 a.m. So again, just because we see this little manipulation at 10 a.m. doesn't mean that 10 a.m. didn't have a PO3 to the upside. This was kind of just something I kind of discretionarily liked, and the reason being is because we had that sponsorship here, and that sponsorship was with the 1 hour. So we had this sponsored gap here with the 1 hour. Obviously, we came into the 1 hour, we rejected off the 1 hour, and then we had this 5-minute gap. We had these 3 5-minute gaps in this leg of price that opened up. And from there, any one of these gaps, in my opinion, was definitely sponsored. The only way it wouldn't have been sponsored was if it opened up a 15-minute fair value gap, right? And we opened up a 15-minute fair value gap, but that wasn't until 10:15. So coming into this, I was looking for this. So we came into this 5-minute fair value gap right here. Oh, please stop doing that. I appreciate it. We came into this M5 15 minutes. Let me just mark it out real quick. We came into this 5-minute fair value gap right here. And we tapped it right here. As you can see, at 10:03 we come in and we tap this 5-minute fair value gap. We hesitate a little bit, then we have a swing higher at 10:05, which is a stop hunt. So this is a valid stop hunt inside of a key level, which is a sponsored 5-minute gap, sponsored from the 1 hour, and we have decent draws lower still. So at this point, okay, it doesn't let me go into the 2-minute chart because I was trading on Project X for this. I do need to get back on TradingView though, because I do have 2 accounts now, and copy trade them in TradingView is just better. But we had this 2-minute fair value gap right here, and then on the 30-second time frame as well, there was nice confirmation because we just had this candle here at 10:06, and the 30-second, if we were looking at the 30-second chart during this time, we just completely started to displace lower, and I ended up taking a 2-minute inversion. I think it was around here, and I was just looking for this low-hanging fruit here. So this LR that we left right here, leading up to this draw in the end that I had for today. And then at 10:11 we had this displacement down, and we ended up going break even on this because at this point we were kind of messing around, and then we had that displacement. So after seeing displacement like this, I was like, cool, this should be the move that delivers us lower here. If we were to retrace any further here, I would not expect this trade to play out, especially since at 10:15 we were opening a 15-minute fair value gap at my stop loss, and I didn't want to have that at my stop loss because that is 100% an area which we could have PO3'd into, because we could have had that 10 a.m. or sorry, that 10 a.m. PO3, and then a stacking. We leave LR here prior to 10:15. 10:15 candle opens, and then we have that stacking PO3 into this unmitigated 15-minute fair value gap right here, and another stop hunt here inside this 5-minute. So it was just a dangerous area for me to have my stop loss. So I decided to go break even here from this displacement, and I ended up getting break even on this trade. Now, my rules for the day are not they are one and done usually. That's only if I take a win or a loss. If I get break even, then I'm still pretty confident in the draw. I am 100% down to wait and see if another setup presents itself, which is exactly what happened here. So again, already with that logic in mind, looking for that 10:15 PO3, I got break even here, and then 10:15 candle opens, and then we have that stacking PO3 with 10 a.m. Because you can see, what do we do at 10 a.m? Boom, we generated liquidity here, made a move higher into this 5-minute. Looked like we were going to flush down to all these lows lower, but we didn't. We ended up accumulating a little bit here, had a displacement move, but then 10:15 opened, and then we had that stacking PO3 with 10 a.m. and 10:15 into this unmitigated 15-minute fair value gap, which I just marked out there. Now, this 15-minute fair value gap is 100% sponsored by the 1 hour without a question, and we have good draws lower to take out, being this LR here, this low resistance, and then these final draws here. Okay, so at this point now, I don't know if it's going to let me. Cool, it does. We had this 3-minute fair value gap, and we ended up kind of displacing through it. Not the best inversion, but it was definitely enough for me to still be confident, just because of the narrative behind this trade was just nice. And I was targeting, I think, just a low here. It was like right here, and I should have basically targeted a 1-to-1 here. So I should have had my stop at the candle body here, expecting us to flush, and then because the draws weren't the most obvious, I should have simply just taken a 1-to-1 here and then called it a day. But I decided to hold for the draw here because I was pretty confident in this narrative for us to hit this draw. And my stop loss was like here, so 84 points. And we ended up kind of edging this. But then the way I managed my position here was pretty well. We opened up this 3-minute fair value gap right here, as you can see. And we ended up rejecting off this. And then within these 2 candles here, we ended up opening up a 30-second fair value gap. It was somewhere within here. and then we ended up rejecting off this, looking like we are making a move lower. And then after me seeing the rejection off the 3 minute and then the rejection off the 30-second as well, I decided to trail my stop into profit here into this low here. So at this high here, and I ended up getting stopped out in profit, and I made around $200 today, instead of around 500, which would have been if we hit full TP. Which was a good decision, and I managed my positions very well, so I'm not too mad about that. But the only thing I did wrong today was just not target that 1-to-1 on that original trade, which would have hit full TP, especially when the draws below weren't that obvious, in my opinion, because the draws below us on the 1 hour chart, these are all protected lows. This is high resistance. As you can see, this is in a 1 hour fair value gap, and this is also in a 1 hour fair value gap. So at this point, we're kind of just targeting high resistance. But at the end of the day, I was just pretty confident in this bearish bias that we were going to flush down, and then to start making our move towards these weekly objectives down here. So this previous week low. I don't think it's previous week, but whatever, same shit. It's a weekly low. That's what I was looking at. So it's a significant draw that I expected us to go down to, but obviously price had other plans, and we ended up reversing there and then making moves higher. So it looks like coming into tomorrow, the draw on liquidity is most likely going to be this daily gap. So yeah, made around $200 today on the funded account. Pretty simple stuff. Should it have been more? Yeah, realistically, it should have been a TP, should have been a 1-to-1, with my stop at the body. But hey, something to journal, something to note. PA today was pretty nice, not gonna lie. Unfortunate that there is no valid entry, in my opinion, on this 5-minute inversion here. It just is what it is. Can't do much about it. I don't like 5 minutes as well. Taking 5-minute inversions is super annoying, especially because you kind of have to bank on. It's kind of like, it's like a model hinder. Sometimes your model will hinder you, and that's why you journal and collect data to try to make sure that your model doesn't hinder you on obvious moves like this. But yeah, like the second I seen us edge this 5-minute and then we started to displace lower, I was like almost like 100% guaranteed that I was not going to be able to get an entry on this move to the downside here, because it was another 5 minutes until that candle closed. So it is what it is. So yeah, 2 trades coming in today. What would I rate this first setup? Honestly, I would rate this first setup probably like B plus. It wasn't really A or A plus. Reason being is just because it was getting close to 10-15. We could have, your stop loss was a 15-minute fair value gap, but I just like the reaction out of the 5-minute and displacement through the 2-minute fair value gap that we had here. It was just pretty clean to me. I liked the displacement, so I had conviction for sure, and the way I managed my position was fine during this. I think arguably I couldn't have managed it any better. But then, of course, we had that 10-15 stacking PO3 with 10 a.m. and 9:30, and it was just really, really clean for this next setup. A few things that could have been better about this setup is if we had better displacement through this 3-minute. But except for that, this setup, in my opinion, was definitely A plus. And if I were to take one setup for today, IFVG of the day is definitely this 3-minute inversion that we had right here. Super nice. A plus. Sadly, obviously we didn't hit TP with this, but it did deliver to these low resistant lows, which I expected, and I was expecting us to come down to this final low, but we ended up not coming down there, so we got edged pretty badly today. But again, PA today was definitely promising. Good PA overall. Some good setups there. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's recap, guys. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Tell me if you guys ended up taking any trades today. And if you did, tell me what you took. If you ended up taking a W, a loss, or a break even, leave it in the comments. And if you guys want to talk to me personally or shoot me a message outside of YouTube, I'm going to leave my Discord, Instagram, and TikTok in the bio below. You can go check them out and shoot me a DM on those if you have any trading related questions or if you have any advice for me on my journey to profitability. I'm going to be documenting my entire journey to profitability through YouTube and through the social media. And hopefully we're going to expand social media once we start becoming more profitable. So Instagram, TikTok, all that. And yeah, of course, my main goal with this channel is to show people that if you really want something in life, even if it's just trading, it doesn't matter what it is. If you put the time and hours and effort into it, you can make it happen. You just have to go out there and grab it by the balls. And that's what I'm doing. And I won't be stopping until I'm profitable. I can guarantee you that. And I know I will be profitable. So it's really going to be a cool thing to be able to show you guys and all the people that are going to be watching these videos in the future how I ended up becoming profitable. Obviously, it says paper trading down here, whatever. Don't mind that. This is just trading view. I'm trading on Project X currently. I do have another Lucid account that is on Trade8 at the moment, but going to be copy trading those once I switch across to Trade8 on Alpha, because Alpha I've like the last fucking account on Project X, so I'm just waiting for the 28th of February when I will be transferred to TradingView, or Trade8, sorry, through that firm. And yeah, I'm excited for the journey ahead, and yeah, that's going to be it for today's video, guys. So I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.